Hey, it's MG. So I wanted to talk about multiple myeloma and how it started uh, with me back in 2024. So I'm married, and my husband uh, got a job in the Washington, D.C. area. So uh, we live in Arkansas, and we were going to relocate him to the Washington, D.C. Area when he got this really great job. Working for a large corporation as an executive. And so we found a townhouse and rented that. And uh, I, I stayed here in Arkansas. And the plan was going to be for me to be here, but go back and forth like every other week. Just, I was gonna change my life, and I was gonna be on the road and up in the air and all over the place. Um, so I'm an interior designer. I've had my firm for 34 years, and have been very successful doing that. So I wasn't ready to hang that up quite yet, but we also needed to pursue his dream and his career. Excuse me. So we made that move to the DC area. So long story short, uh, while I was there for a visit and to buy a table for a client of mine in Arkansas, I was getting ready to leave, and I had been for quite some time feeling joint and bone pain and very fatigued. And I just thought, I'm 60 years old. Um, this is coming along with the territory. Uh, so I was getting ready to leave, and I was loading this table into the back of my Cadillac SUV, and my arm just like flung up and hit the back of the uh, the hatch that was open, and I broke my arm just like that. And so I immediately knew I had broken it because not only was the pain just just crippling, but I started feeling really sick to my stomach, and so I knew I had broken a bone. So I called him and I said, "Hey, we need to go to emergency room." So we spent 9 hours in the emergency room. That's a totally different story. And the doctor came out as we were getting ready to get things wrapped up, and she said, "Okay, MG," she goes, "are you going back to Arkansas? When are you leaving?" And I said, "Well," I said, "I was on my way when this happened." And she said, "Okay." She goes, "Well, when you get back to Arkansas, you need to see an oncologist." And Conley and I were just like, "An oncologist? Well, what? What's going on?" She said, "You have a 4.5 inch tumor on your radius." And she said, "And that's why you broke your arm." She goes, "In fact, there's no bone left where the tumor is. It's just dissolved. It's gone." So she said, "So we're going to put you in a sling, and you need to get back home, and you need to find an oncologist that can help you." And she goes, "It is cancer. It's some sort of cancer, but," she goes, "hopefully they can treat it." So I mean, that's how it started, and we were just in shock, just in shock. So I have a very good friend here in Arkansas who's in the media, and she also um, has multiple myeloma, and her cancer started during COVID, of all times, for that to happen, and she had problems with her hip. So she called me once the news got out that I had this, and I was needing to get treated for it. And we spent like 3 hours on the phone, and she explained everything to me. Um, But when I got back to Arkansas, um, I called the hospital down in Little Rock and I said, I need to get in. And they were like, oh, 4 months. Yeah, and we can see you then. And I'm just like, I might be dead in 4 months. Who knows? So I had broken my hip back in 2021, I think it was. And so the surgeon that did it is my next door neighbor. So I reached out to him and I said, Brian, can you please call UAMS in Little Rock um, and see if you can get me in? So he did. And 3 days later, I had an appointment. So the next week, I went down to Little Rock and did testing for a whole week. Labs, CTs, MRIs, just everything you can imagine. X-rays of my arm, all that. They couldn't do surgery on my arm since I had cancer, which I found out later. But I got the call January. I broke my arm the 2nd of January, and I got the call the 17th of January from the one of the doctors down at UAMS, and he said, "MG, you are just full of cancer, just full of it." And he said, "Your bone marrow registered it between 80 and 85% cancer." So he said, "We need you down here like next week to start treatment. We're going to hospitalize you. You're going to be down here for like 4 weeks, and we are going to start you on intense chemotherapy. We got to get ahead of this." He goes, "You're stage 3." So that's how it started. And so the videos that you're going to see after this are videos that I started in 2024, just chronicling my journey. And I did it really just for myself at first, just because I kind of needed a way to express what was happening and when it was happening and how it was happening. Because I was learning more and more about the cancer as it was progressing inside of me and as I was getting treated for it. And I didn't really understand a lot of uh, the places that it manifests itself. So, but as I started doing these videos, people started saying, "Hey, I really appreciate you being vulnerable and honest with what's going on with you and everything, and please keep us posted, and we're praying for you and all that." So, just to give you a background story on that, that's how it started, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.